All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. If you guys want to take a minute, we'll start. So, Claymore, do you want to go ahead and say a little something about yourself? Like what kind of games you played before getting into Tarkov and
Yeah, sure, sounds good. So obviously my name is Claymore. Well, my handle's Claymore Plays, but a lot of people call me Claymore anyways. I'm 27 years old. I hail from the mythical land of Brexit, Yorkshire. I've been streaming for about 2.5 years now, roughly. I've been full time for about a year and a bit. Um, I've played a lot in my time. I've been a gamer since I was young. I started on the Game Boy Color and pretty much didn't stop gaming since.
same.
Um, I think the majority of the stuff I used to play before Tarkov was MMOs, like like World of Warcraft and other stuff, and other Mass Effect, all the story related stuff and everything like that, all the classics, Elder Scrolls, etc. I got my PC, first of a PC, and about 6 months later, I started Tarkov for the first time. Um, I pretty much for the first 2 months hatchet run everything. And then I got involved with the team and started picking up the game, learning more of it, and haven't put it down since. As much as the game likes to make me rant and feel bad about myself,
Yeah,
I'm still there playing it.
I feel that. Say a little fun fact about the podcast: we got one person whose day is just beginning and one who's just ending. You guys are quite on different ends of the spectrum here.
Pretty much, yeah. It's 9:10 for me right now in the evening, but this is actually good. It's usually around about an hour and a half from now. I usually finish, so it's worked out for me actually really well.
Perfect. Glad we can make it work. All right, Miss Trash, you want to go ahead and say hello?
Yeah. Miss Trash, Bailey can call me either. I'm 22, live out in Georgia right now, but to be moving back to California though. I've been streaming since last June, so I actually haven't been streaming for too long. But Tarkov was since I've got my new PC is one of the games that I've just been heavily playing. Right before that, I was playing Siege, but I've been playing like World of Warcraft since I was like 8. Just mostly games like that, super heavy story games, a lot like Claymore. So
Nice. So a lot of experiences there, huh?
yeah, to definitely say that Tarkov is like one of the more intense games that I've played. Out of all the games that I have played, I know that they're like a lot of people kind of
Yeah.
put it on the same spectrums as like like Arma or Rust or all that stuff, and I haven't really played a lot of those games. But Tarkov was a game that my entire friend group actually played, and they're all like, "Yeah, you need to get the game." So I like started not last wipe last wipe is my first wipe, but the wipe before that I played for a solid last week, and
Nice.
then the game wiped. I got EOD and been struggling ever since.
Yeah. EOD is so important. I can't like that is I can't even fathom. Like I remember I played the game for a week with the base version. And I was like, this just ain't gonna work. I can hold 3 backpacks and that's it. I'm full.
Yeah, that's once I decided within a week I decided I like this game. I'm getting EOD. I'm not playing like that. Whereas my other friends, they all played at least one wipe without EOD to kind of see if they really want. I'm like, no, no.
Nope.
No.
It's literally 2 different games in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
It's. I always suggest people if they wanted to pick up Tarkov and they're like, should I just pick up the EUD? I always tell them start with a standard so you appreciate the space more and you're better inventory management as well. Like I suggest that to everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
especially because the EUD like starting gear is now different. It used to they changed it on this swipe,
That's
didn't
true.
they? Like,
Yep. Yeah, they did.
so there's a lot. Actually, feels like more stuff you get now.
Yeah.
And it's. I remember when people used to call the MBSS back in the day the pay to win bag because you got like loads of MBSSs with your EOD starter loadout back patches and patches and patches ago.
And that was super important. I always recommend to the new players that they should start with the base edition just because simply you can always upgrade. Tarkov's a lot to get involved with, and there's a lot to learn. And it like when I came to Tarkov, the most hardcore thing I ever played was PUBG. Like that was my hardcore gaming. Like that was like, oh, this is like a hardcore game. Like this is what the real gamers play. Like there's Call of Duty, and then there's this, and then I got into Tarkov. And I was like, what does any of this stuff do? I know nothing. Like why are my bullets not killing this guy? Shot him 37 times. So it is.
Those PS rounds, man. Those PS rounds.
Man, it's just learning.
Deceived you.
Mm-hmm. I was like 27 hit count. How's he not dead? All right, so we'll get started. So what are the first experiences a new player can expect when starting Tarkov? What would you tell them to be ready to walk into?
Um, it's so apologies for the female crowds, but for us guys, it's the equivalent of dragging your balls over a floor covered in broken glass. That's pretty much what Tarkov is like when you're starting it. You are gonna suffer, but you gotta push through those depths to really discover like the amazing game underneath. It's got a learning curve like a brick wall. It doesn't help you at all. Doesn't hold your hand. So Wiki and YouTube will be your friend, but just know that if you are dying a lot and wondering what you're doing wrong, it's like teething issues basically. You're gonna get everyone goes through the same thing. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm. I say it's like if you're a Call of Duty player coming to Tarkov, it's like every time you spawn to a raid, you spawn in spawn camps. Like just assume there's 15 guys in your spawn ready to insta shoot you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just gonna be on repeat for like months. And if you can dig through that, then you can start to have fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
The favorite thing my friend's ever said about Tarkov is he's like, you're going to die the same way about 20 times before you realize I maybe shouldn't go that way. Like that's just how it is.
And like there's a lot of things to experience. You just have to experience each thing multiple times, and there's thousands of things to experience. And it's just like every spawn, every map, like understanding how you can move as soon as you spawn in, like where should you look and go. And you're spawn in, you're gonna take 3 steps forward and just get shot. And you're just like, and you're not even gonna know where from. So like as a new player, when you die from a mile away by a sniper, you have no way of knowing what you could have happened. You're just like, I'm dead. Did I die? Did someone kill me?
Yeah, you can't even tell the names. You don't know why someone has a gold name or a white name, or like you have no idea.
Green or purple names.
Yeah.
I say for those guys.
It's tough to call, man. It's tough to call because I mean, it's like I've been trying to practice more. Last like 5 months or so, I've been trying to practice more, like trying to stop myself from jumping immediately to accusations. You know, like oh, this guy was camping, this guy was cheating, this guy was doing something weird. Like, and it's to this day, it's still really hard to kind of like just rather than go over that line, make yourself stop and just think, okay, hold up, just maybe this wasn't what I think it is. You know. Like maybe this guy wasn't like this terrible, terrible piece of human garbage that was sitting in there the entire time. Maybe he just crept up on me and heard me. You know, maybe I just ran into him. You know, it's really hard, man. It's really hard, but it's rough, man. Because I mean, especially with EOD players, you just don't know what they're doing.
Mm-mm.
You know, even no matter if you can get sussed out by someone EOD, and you're just like, but it's an EOD player. Why would someone do that on an EOD account? But just don't know, man.
I agree. I've had several people come to like streams like, oh, you're just a rat, like why are you camping there? And like I clearly just walked up to that spot less than 2 seconds prior and shot them. Like I actually yesterday I heard Killa shooting down by Kiba, so I literally sprinted down the escalator, walked into Brutal, turned the corner, and this dude prone kill his body. I just one tap on the head, and he just literally comes in chat and goes like trash camper on install and then leaves. And I was just like, but you could watch the VOD. Like, I clearly just sprinted. Like,
yeah.
But I was like, and I do it all the time. I'm like, these guys are camping. And I was like, maybe they weren't, though. Maybe they really the same situation. Like, they just showed up. Unfortunate timings.
Literally like 3 raids ago, Florence, who I was playing with earlier, killed this team. And one of them came in, and 2 out of 3 of them were streamers. That's always good. And one of them came in and said, a stupid ping abuser, whilst we were on EU servers.
Abusing our own little ping.
Dude, that's 60 MS ping abuse, man.
Yeah. Oh, how dare you?
Man.
I think that one you got to email BSG about. I'm like, sorry guys. BSG, I need my own private servers. These guys don't like my ping.
Yep. Offline mode, man. Offline mode.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I think reflecting on it and just thinking about the new players, like we understand timings as experienced players and like spawns, so we know how to play early for the map. But if you're a new player, like you just kind of have to, whatever you hear is spooky because you don't even know or you can't even tell distance, or like if you're being shot at, or if a ricochet is like someone shooting at you, or just a ricochet from a nade, like so many things that could actually like scare you.
Oh yeah, I remember really, when I first started playing, someone throw a nade across the map and like you hear the pellets come by you, and like I'm like, oh, I heard a nade, and I hear like the whiz. I'm like, oh god, I'm getting shot at. And I just like start running around in circles, like where? Help me!
Yeah, we're playing with our buddy who's like new to the game, and every single time we throw a nade, he's like, I think I'm and it ricochets. He's like, we're getting shot at as well. I'm like, no, it was just a ricochet. Like say that every single time I throw a nade.
I literally still think the ricochet sometimes is bullets. It's okay.
The best way to deal with that is to shoot your teammates all the time, so they get desensitized to actual shot shooting them. So then they're just like, so when they're actually getting shot, you're just like, they're just like, stop shooting me, dude. Stop. I know that's you. Stop.
Like I'm across the map. Wait, what? the classic. This you.
yeah, yeah.
Wiggle.
Wiggle. Oh man, that's another thing. Playing with as a new player, playing with your friends, it's brutal. This is just like I can't tell. Is that you? I don't know where. I'm by something. I'm by a tree. I say I got by a tree, but I'm by a tree.
Yeah, it's rough, man. I feel for any new players that start the game, because I mean, they're not just diving into. It's not like they're diving into like a game where they can rely 100% on everything. You know, it's like even as baseline as like shooting someone in the face can sometimes be unreliable, because you know maybe the shot didn't register. You know, the audio. You know, if they're above you or below you, you have no idea where the hell they are. You know,
You have
so
no idea what
I
you're
feel
hearing.
bad for any new players in that respect. But I mean, we are getting Steam Audio back in 13, sorry, 0.10. So
Is it 13? I thought it was coming back in 12.10.
oh, 12.10. Sorry, no, you're not right. Sorry, I got my
12.10,
numbers
yeah.
mixed up. 12.10. Yeah. So we're getting that back at least.
Yeah.
Soon.
Soon.
Yeah, it's yes, soon. Those are the words we live by.
My favorite timing.
Yeah.
Soon, but not soon. Like, oh, okay, that means anything to me.
I think bullets as well are just like an overwhelming thing. New players come into and just have no idea. Like Prepper is selling you like 30 types of 545 bullets, so you're like, I guess I'll pick this one. Is there a description to tell
Nope,
me like
yeah,
what
nope.
damage it does? No.
Nothing. No penetration. You can see how fast the ball is gonna go, and that's it. And it's. I remember like one time I found like the pack of War Mitch rounds. And I was like, oh, these gotta hurt. Like these like first of all, they're called War Mitch. That sounds awesome.
The
Like-
box says Warmageddon.
Yeah, like people will die to this round. People don't die to that round. Fun fact. If you're wearing literally airsoft armor, you're safe.
It's mad as well, because I mean, some of the rounds we all used to love and know, like it just feels like they got hit really hard this patch too. Like 308 M62 took a huge
Yeah.
nerf. 760 BP took a big nerf.
I don't like
And
BP.
it had its, I just, it had its time in the sun like last patch, and it was nice seeing more of the 762 AK. I will say that it's just because I have a soft spot in my heart for it. I used to main 762 AKs, but
Okay.
you know, for considering BSG, you know, they're a bunch of Russian blokes. They really don't like their AKs. In this
Yeah,
game.
you really think the AKs was the worst too. The 545 and the 762 were like, I don't know. I agree. That's weird. You would think these would be like overpowered, but they're so underwhelming.
Yeah. The one thing they have going for them is the fact that they're probably one of the cheaper weapons to mod in endgame.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like 120k to mod up a 545 AK, as opposed like an M4, which is nearly 300k. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I'm still taking the M4 every time.
same.
All right, so we'll talk about the next thing, which is the AI. As a new player, trying to understand how to fight scavs and your best advice to not turn a corner and just get Vashimi'd every raid.
No divided cheeks, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, once again, this patch, usually I just say AI aren't too difficult. Just try not to repeat from the same angle if you don't get the killing shot on them. And just try and go for, you know, like 4x headshots. If you're worried that you won't get the killing blow, just put a few rounds more into them just to be safe. But this patch, it just feels like the scabs are like, it's like every single like scav is a boss guard almost, like in
Correct.
terms of,
Yeah.
they're ridiculous this patch.
It's like
but, I
year
mean,
one again.
it's like, right, yeah. Like, I mean, the only thing I'd suggest is just never repeat the same scav, and never stand in front like of a scav's like cone of detection for too long, and without taking a shot, because they'll just probably just go prone and just destroy
Prone
you.
scav means run.
Yep.
If you're a new player and a
Indeed.
scav goes prone, you just leave. You don't go to that area of the map anymore.
Yep, especially in woods where
Yes.
there's tall grass and
Oh
you
my
know,
god, yeah.
yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, definitely. I think, especially, I mean, higher up scavs, you know, like raiders and stuff like that. I'm always talking about rotating on them constantly and stuff like that. But even like regular scavs now, like you almost have to just rotate on every scav you see because
For sure.
they spawn with nades sometimes, and the shotgun scavs are like
The
thing of
worst.
nightmares.
Yes.
Like,
Anywhere you are on the map, if a shotgun scav exists, you are in danger,
Mm-hmm.
no matter the
For sure.
distance. I got shot through like I was on reserve and I was like looking through a little pixel, like it was the tiniest pixel. I couldn't even like barely tell what I was seeing, but I noticed a scav literally just glimpsed by the pixel, and I just heard Fushimi and I heard a pump of a shotgun, and I just see at the end title head eyes buckshots. I was like, how is that even possible?
The shotgun scavs have always been scary. I think in general, it's just I don't know, man. Like, I don't mind it when the AI is difficult, but I've been saying this like over the like year and a half when they've been like experimenting with boss scabs, their AI, their raiders, etc.
Yeah.
The difficulty of your PVE shouldn't be reliant on overtuning their detection, their accuracy,
Hmm.
you know, the movement, the fact that they have high health. You know, like sanitized guards have equal, if not just shy health of killer's health.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been saying this over and over and over again, is that the challenge of PvE should be because of its complexity and it's in-depth AI. It shouldn't be because haha, scav shot can go Bert from 80 meters away through 5 bushes, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
and you have to shoot him 100 times before he can die. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you know, like you shoot them in the arms, they don't give a shit. Like, you know, I mean, I've been saying this over and over again, but if they wanted to really kind of like distinguish that, like a non-raider, a non-boss AI that was difficult, introduce a new cast of AIs, call them like, you know, like thugs or something like that, or marauders, like
Mhm.
where they're like the tier between regular scabs and raiders or boss scabs or anything like that. And there's a small chance for some like marauders, whatever you want to call them, to spawn in any location, and they're the ones you need to be scary of. The regular AI, if you don't take them seriously, they'll mess your day up. But if you know, they shouldn't be like as they are right now. It's too much.
yeah, I say the amount of times I've millipeeked a scav for a second while trying to rotate in a player fight, and that scav took out all of my limbs. And then, you know, there's been other times where I literally watched a hatchling walk into 110 on resort. And I was like, oh, there's a hatchling in there. Like, I gotta go kill him. So I chased down him to kill him. Right next to the hatchling, like standing next to him, is a scav shotgun protecting him. It shot me trying to kill the hatchling. And I was like, what is this game?
Mad, absolutely mad. Something similar happened to me on Exchange. It was killer in the middle. There's a boss scab this time. It was killer in the middle, and there was this guy with this hunter or something like that running around. He had aggroed killer, but killer didn't shoot him. So I ran up, hearing killer, assuming that he'd be able to attack them, and I can use that window to push up. But rather than shoot him, he just whips around and locks onto me and shoots me. I kill that guy, and killer, he's already shot me in the back a bunch of BTs, and my armor shredded. And just
Yep.
it's. I'd love to know like why they prioritize certain people the way they do. I'd love to
Same.
know.
Would be nice. Like I said, I would definitely like. That's what like Ark actually brought this up to me a while ago about like the complexity in the changes with like the cultist and how they try to use like actual tactics to make them difficult. And like, I really love the idea that's there. And like, I actually,
Yeah. The first time fighting cultists was terrifying for
Yeah,
me because
same.
like they were suppressing you, they were throwing ace to flush you out, they were flanking you, they were running around. Like that to me is like incredibly fun and stressful and intense when
Yeah,
you're going up against AI who like know what they're doing. They're like, all right, this person's there, we're on the flank around, the other guy puts some suppressing fire so he doesn't hear the guy running around. That guy then throws an A, then you're forced to move into another cultist. You know, it's great. I love fighting cultists.
Yeah, I think cultists are definitely like a first step. Like I've been working on a video just like analyzing scav bosses or just raiders and just exactly what you said, Claymore, about like their difficulty doesn't just have to be higher health pool in like aimbot. Like what they did with cultists shows that they can actually show like movement tactics that can help us that's crazy for us. Like we were hunting cultists with reapers, and we were terrified still.
Yeah,
When we
yeah.
were close range for them. Like I actually want to hunt them without like reapers, just like night vision experience. Probably what they wanted us to feel to get like in first person, no glowing like icons, getting surrounded by them and getting
Yep.
pushed.
I hope
Yeah.
when they bring out that new stem that the cultists carry that and use it for the thermal.
Oh, dude, I'd love it if the if
They
the
just
clothing the
disappeared. You
cultists
shoot
have
one, and they
is-
all just disappear
Yeah,
on the thermal.
Yeah.
You're like,
that would be cool, man. I'd love it if they did that
So
because
I.
I think thermals are in a better place now than ever before. But I think fighting
They're still
cultists in
so
general, I
broken.
think it should be a it should be a it should be a challenge to anyone. You know,
Yeah.
It
just
should
because you have a thermal doesn't mean it should take the fun out of it. You know, someone who has wiped them a few times with thermals, it's like cool, but it's
Yeah,
a hollow
same.
experience at the end of the day. So
Yeah, same. That's like they're easy. I mean, with the thermal, you can just pick them up when they're hiding in little
Mhm.
bushes. You're like, oh, this is easy.
Yep.
Yeah, but as a new player, like getting used to AI stuff, just kind of have to like die to them a lot to know like how to play against them. When you see a strafing scav with a shotgun and you've died to that thing like 16 times, you know you're back. Like just back away and take that fight from somewhere else because he's just gonna strafe one shot you like head eyes. I think when I was a new player, it was hard for me to distinguish what was a player and what wasn't a player sometimes. And just knowing that AI scavs will like emote right before they, engage, or their emotes actually mean something, um, is like huge and different. I remember the
Mhm.
first time I heard Raiders, I was like, "Is that a player? That's English because scavs
Yeah.
are Russian. I swear scavs are Russian." And like that was huge for me to like separate that.
Yeah.
I remember the first time with that Labs was brought out and Raiders were brought out in Labs, and I remember killing a Raider for the first time. That was a geared player, wasn't it? Like that wasn't that a geared player? Then I ran up and then I saw it had different clothing and I was like, oh my god, it's an AI.
Which is, Raiders have been a nightmare for me right now. They're a very sensitive subject. Yeah, I just played labs
Some
all day
story?
yesterday, and I died to more Raiders yesterday than I have players all week. It was just sad.
Like
It's-
AIs in general,
yeah.
I die to more often than players at this rate. Like
Yeah?
straight up. Yeah.
That's why I pretty much can only wear an alt anymore because I'm just like, no more head eyes, please.
Yeah, I've been rocking Reese's last nearly the entire patch, man. I can't put them down, dude. They just saved me so many times. I just can't warrant putting them down.
One time I had a buddy bring me in my Rise back, and I didn't notice I didn't have it on. And like I loaded in, and like my first thought was, when did I buy a bigger monitor? I was like, I can see so much more. I was like, I swear I have a 24-inch. Like, did I get a 32 at some point and forget? And he's like, I got your helmet. I was like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, when the rain was really bad and I got tired of just like not being able to hear shit, and I took off my Alton and I just got head eyes by like PST. I was like, I'm just going back. There's no point. There's no point.
Somebody chat has a question. What are your guys' thoughts on the Raiders? Which I'm guessing with the whole just the concept of them.
I think the concept is really cool. Like rogue, like PMC's gone rogue. You know, they're all for themselves and they form in little groups, stuff like that. I think they're really cool. I like I think with the Raiders, I think I can give a little bit of leeway regarding them being as accurate as they are, because they are technically ex-PMCs. They're not civilians, for example,
Yeah.
like scavs are. So I like the concept of them. I don't mind them being a little bit aimbotty, because I most of the time, and I'm not sure if you guys have the same experience, but when I aggro a Raider, either they go prone and don't do anything for like a second, or they'll try and throw a nade at you immediately, or they'll try running away. I think I'm reserved, though, that the detection needs to be reworked a little bit.
Because you're
Because-
open more.
Yeah, you're open more. Remember, scavs don't care about grass right now.
Mhm.
Like, and grass can honestly be, for us at least, a bit of a deal breaker if you want to try and get a shot on someone. They don't
Yeah.
care about grass. They don't even care about bushes, actually. On top of the bunkers, for example, where the hermetic bunkers are on top. I think that if they want to bring raiders onto other maps, they need to kind of either set up like a new archetype of raiders, where for that certain map, there's certain things they will either like adapt to, like bushes and grass and stuff like that. And maybe if they're more wider in the open, they wouldn't be just roaming around in the open. Maybe they'd be more kind of like sticking to like indoor buildings and stuff like that. So people, they can't just pick them off
Yeah,
easily out in the open with their snipers and stuff like that.
that's what
Yeah, basically.
that's what I love about the addition of Sanitar. Like you shoot him once and that dude's gone and juiced up and stimmed up. He's like he finds a corner, he hides, and he's healing up.
That's how we farm him.
So
And, like,
yeah,
if we spawn by the ambulance by tunnel for shoreline, as soon as we're running past the cottage, I just toss a nade into the cottage and run in. If I hear 3 people scream Granada, I know one. Like I'm just running after him.
Yeah, yeah.
They start running and I just kill them with M61. I think Raiders are really cool and like their concept is really cool. I think I agree with you, Claymore. Like there has to be like adaptability to what map they're on. Like it could be really basic to play against Raiders the same way you fight them in labs on reserve. But at the same time, like I've actually been doing like a lot of studying on AIs, and it's really cool. Like AIs actually know where we are all the time. So the way they actually like get them not to detect us, like if they're on bunkers and we're on dome, is like they give them like a range limit. But so they can't, even if, because I don't know if you've noticed, sometimes you're aiming at a scav, you're not super far away from it, but if you aim at it for a while, then it looks at you
Yeah.
and like notices it's.
Yeah.
So like they have parameters set, and I just think that maybe they have to like rework the actual details when it comes to maps, because like reserve is a very diverse map from labs,
yeah.
and just like you said, like using like the actual cover
We have seen
that's in the
the
map,
cultists during the
like
day.
so much the bushes, the bunkers, being able to like do stuff with that would be cool. I'm not super sure what that could be
The
like.
cultist
'Cause
thing's a
they're running in
bug.
the
I'm pretty
open
sure about the day
by the
ones.
train, or they're like in
Not
the
100%
bunkers
sure
or
on that, though.
chaos. Yeah.
The moment you path your AI to the point where people know or kind of roughly guess their pathing is the moment where you need to put some more
For sure.
elaboration on it.
Yeah.
Like I love what they did with Glukat. He can be spread out now completely around the exterior or interior K buildings all the way to the train station. Like I love that they did that because it keeps you guessing. You have no idea like where they could be. I've seen Glukat just chilling in the middle of the open next to some hard cover, and he has like guards all over the bunkers in brick watchtower. Like I love what they did there. They should definitely do more of that, more random pathing.
So
and
one of the
stuff like
thing I really liked about Gluehard in the beginning was the roles the guards play too. Like how they had like the aggressor scouts who like they were the ones that keep watch, and if they noticed you, they became aggressive on you, while the other ones played more defensive protecting of the boss. One thing I wish they would do is add more of a detection system for like, I hate it so much that like somebody could go in the middle, like Sturman, we give him a prime example. The amount of times I watched Sturman dead and both the guards standing around just doing nothing, but Sturman's empty, looted. I was like, they should be upset their boss is dead, and they should probably try to stop him from being looted. But instead, like, I wish they would aggro more. Like, if you kill the boss without taking out the guards first, the bosses became way more adaptive to you and aggressive on you.
Well, I think, and I think Arcane might know this too because he's been studying scabs. The reason why sometimes if you kill a boss of a group and the rest kind of become like they're like going into like mental hibernation or something like that, is because the boss has a tagged and curse mechanic. So the moment you aggro onto the boss, let's say for example, if you peek from night buildings and Glukat sees you, and he aggro's onto you, like he looks at you and he clearly sees you. He's tagged and cursed you, so his guards is like, for example, the stormtroopers, the aggressors, they know where you are at all times. So when the boss dies, that tagged and curse mechanic expires. It's gone.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
why suddenly they become dumb, which I still think is stupid. I agree with you. Like I think the person who killed the boss, depending on like the boss gang, for example, I wouldn't expect Rashad.
Yeah, they gotta work on the spawns, Princess, with that.
Be like so, like emotionally like torn that their boss died. Like I think it'd be pretty cool if maybe even some of the guards maybe even like retreated like somewhere random and stuff like that. And but some guards I think could be really really cool for certain bosses if they went like hyper aggressive and they were like, right, come here, you killed my boss, come here, you're
Yeah.
mine. You know what I mean? Like
Dude, they're the
how
worst guards
Senator
ever.
runs, though?
Yeah.
I just imagine you kill Rashala and the guards just start
Sorry.
running down the dorm
They're just like,
stairs.
leave us alone. We're sorry.
Just the wave.
Or
I
Megan,
mean it.
you kill Rashal and you become the boss. Like they're loyal to you now. It's like a chain of
that-
command thing.
Oh, dude, I can't wait till we get the Scav Life DLC that we
Yeah.
should've gotten 2 years ago, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
It's
coming
coming.
eventually.
Soon,
Yeah.
soon.
Soon. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think with Sanitar, when they said he was going to be in Resort, like I remember just fantasizing, gee, this Resort's going to be so scary. Like he could be anywhere, like he could be in a room, and just like he's only in first floor, and
Yep.
if you shoot him, he runs outside, or if you're coming in from the backside, he just lasers you through the windows and you die. Um, I realize it can be challenging though because there's a lot of places in the resort in the second and third floor that you have to jump over to get through, and the scavs don't jump. So like there's probably a lot of work they have to put in to actually make them feel diverse and like adaptable. But like I think it's gonna be really worth it. Like new players, which is like the center of our topic, will probably still get killed anyway. Like Sanitar or the bosses are like probably hard for them to fight. But obviously we're experienced, so like we understand.
Yeah,
We've
that's
seen them die and
Yeah.
yeah, we know their patterns already.
I mean, the original concept of Senator, what we were told at least, is that he's going to be creeping around the resort,
mhm.
at least on certain occasions, and he'll sneak up on players and he'll freaking inject them with like stuff like toxins and stuff like that. That was the original concept. So now that we have the cultists who essentially do the same thing, I think that
He
we're
could-
going to be seeing some updates to Senator soon where he'll
For
actually
sure.
be stuck to doing that, you know? Which I think is going to nighttime shoreline. You're just like,
Yeah.
you know, pistol running if you like 301 or something like that, and you just get stabbed in the ass with like an adrenaline or something like that, you know? Like,
So juiced up. Like, I'm
I'm
alive.
losing energy. What's going on? What's going on?
yeah.
I think you stabbed with that cocktail. You just start taking random effects. I wish they'd add like a hallucinating effect. Like if they add that cocktail and have them stab with that, and, like you just start to see AI scavs that aren't actual scavs. Like
You
you'll
start
hear
to
the
hear them.
noises. Yeah, you'll hear
That's
them.
scary as
You can't
shit.
see anything.
Why does that pig have a shotgun? What's going
Yeah, they turn into the.
on?
You get stabbed by the cultist poison knife. They all start to wear the pigs.
Oh man.
That's
That
what I
got
was.
soft.
I always thought the cultists were gonna be like that too. Like they're gonna be in the resort when they came to Shoreline, and like they would be in that room with the pig, and like the people were saying like you would go to loot it, and that would like he'd stand up and shoot.
Yeah. I think they're going to be introducing them slowly in those locations, because I think it's like if they're going to be chilling in, like for example, it's going to be Rishala and the cultists like sitting in the same dorms room, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, like I feel like there's good things coming with the AI for sure.
For sure.
I mean, it's not like they haven't done anything good with the AI. I mean, we have wiggling now. That's cool.
Yeah,
the
I think
AI
we're at
will-
a good foundation.
yeah,
for sure.
and then they will run around, like if they're suspecting they're in a dangerous area, and they'll loot weapons and stuff off ground and bodies now. They'll pretend
Yeah.
to loot containers. Like this is all good stuff. You know, it's all good
It's
stuff.
all
so,
right
you know.
direction. Except for they need to open the containers. They just stare at it.
Yeah, they just look at it and they're trying to figure out how do I operate this thing? Like
There's
how
a
do I-
hinge. How do I use this?
What is the zip? I
Yeah.
don't know what a zip is.
Apparently, Russians don't have zippers.
No. They just tear the
Yeah,
the trousers
yeah,
open, man.
every time. They gotta buy new clothes every time we change.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some survival tips for new players. Things players can use to help them stand the best chance of getting in. You know, so hopefully ease the pain of instead of having the idea of as a new player you're gonna die 1,000 in a row. What can they do to die 998 in a row and survive too?
I think the rat strats are the best for new
Honestly,
players. Like straight up. Well, and then I was even gonna say this earlier too, but people coming into this game, especially from games like COD and everything like that, one of the biggest things that they have to adjust to is taking their time. Like
Mhm.
you
For
can't start off the game running in like a Chad. That's
Yeah.
just not how that
Day
works.
one, you
And
can't be a
that's how
Chad.
that's all Call of Duty is, is like running
Mhm.
around and just
Yep.
like you hold W and shoot. That's what it is. But you can't do that, especially with a game where map knowledge is something that you need to you need to survive, and you're coming into a game obviously where you don't have that knowledge,
Mhm.
and you have to really, like I say, new players, use your scav, play offline. If you learn by watching people, watch some streams. Like if you don't have like a crew that can kind of hold your hand and be like, hey, this is dorms, like you definitely need to have like those rat strats down so that you can at least survive the raid. And maybe you won't get the kills yet, but you'll definitely at least find your way to extract and get out. So
So I will let
Love
it
Yeah.
be noted that when I first started playing this game, I'm not proud of this, but it took me probably to like my mid 30 level, I think, until I killed my first PMC. I was a lot of just killing scavs and hanging out and
Jesus Christ.
I feel that.
You
Ark,
nearly did a pacifist run,
Ark
mate.
didn't used to.
Pacifist 1 to 40.
Ark used to hate playing with
Jeez.
me because I
It's
was.
like, Ark, are you on? No, I just got off. Sorry.
Sorry, he's like, sorry, actually, I can't play.
It goes invisible on Steam, goes
Yeah.
to play Minecraft or something, you know?
Like this game really can be brutal. Like if you don't know how to like move well or understand just like the mechanics of like shooting and strafing while shooting, like you're gonna wonder why you're shooting people and they're just strafing headshot you. Like as a new player, you're gonna die a lot to that. I think like yeah, Trash is so right. Like a balance of like writing and chatting at the same time, and while you gain map knowledge. I remember the first time I got a Pilgrim scav, I was so excited. I was like, dude, I've heard reserve is juiced. I need to take the scav in the reserve. My whole monitor was filled with reserve map. I watched Pesley's reserve video. I got in. I'm like, oh my god, I heard there's mines somewhere. I don't know where it is. Like I thought the mines were by like night buildings in the bushes. So like I was like just being so careful. The windows of all the buildings in reserve were just horrifying. I felt like I was being stared at the whole time. Like it's important, I think, when you're new and you're trying to survive, like just like a balance of being patient and when you feel like you're being pushed, just being aggressive at the same time because it is Tarkov, and if you just sit still, I'd like you're gonna die.
No, you've both nailed it. I mean, like, even to this day, you know, like I think it's important to know when to swap between play styles. I think this is what I think this is one of the biggest issues right now regarding new players coming from Twitch, at least, is that some of the most viewed people. And that's obviously, this isn't like a call out on anyone, not by any means, but a lot of the most popular players on who stream Tarkov are like full shift W players.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they flick around, they're using HKs and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If anything, I prefer if people play like that. It's a lot more
Yeah.
fun to fight against me personally. But
Yeah.
you know, like people come in with that kind of like play style in mind, and when they do that,
They get
as a
rocked.
newer player, you get absolutely murdered.
sure.
So I mean, I would honestly, at the end
Yes,
of the day,
Clay.
yeah, you should adapt to whatever situation you're in. You know, like if you think someone's in a room and they don't think you don't think they know you're there, hard push the room or nade the room and flush them out. You know, like if you're about to flank upon a team, push out and start killing as many, then reposition. You know, or
Yeah.
if you are, you know, if you just killed someone and then you just got naded by someone else, you know, find an angle, hold it, wait for some audio information, and then just hold the angle till that guy pushes. Like, or if you know where he is, then push him. Like, it's always super important to kind of like alternate and know when to change your play style up. And you know, like Arcane and I can't want to say trash. It sounds rude.
I know.
Miss Trash. It sounds rude, doesn't it?
I just feel bad kind of saying her name, like, yeah, the trash
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah. It's like Trash said. Like, I mean, it's just all right, Clay. There's no need to be rude, you know. Like, but yeah, like Miss Trash and Arcane said, you know, like you've got to start slow.
Yes, do not
You know,
use lasers.
You're gonna
Lasers are
hear
bad.
noise. You have no idea where it's coming from. You're gonna hear metal, wood, you know, like earth, like grass. You're gonna hear like you're gonna hear all different kinds of sound until you start developing the map knowledge.
And learning what those sounds like using,
exactly,
putting
like-
meaning to your sounds.
Yeah. As soon as you develop that map knowledge, you know, like you mentioned earlier, Summer, like the spawns and everything like that, and like potential routes you should take. Like it's all pieces of a puzzle, and eventually you kind of like put it all together. I mean, I think the offline mode it's not talked about enough.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Sure.
it's you know, like people just look at it and think, well, I can't get loot from it. So what's the point? It's honestly the best place to practice your kind of like your playstyle against AI. I always tell people go factory, turn on horde mode, and just test yourself, see how far you can survive. You know, try and get your healing done, your ammo packing done, and your you
Yeah.
know, everything else, and your repositioning done around the waves, constantly testing you. Yeah, I thought offline mode is perfect. You don't even need PVE on. Just literally just turn it on, explore the maps a little bit, so you know exactly where you're going. Yeah. So no, I agree with all of you. It's all part of the same puzzle. It's great.
Yeah. Say it's just a lot to take in as a new player, and there's, like you said, I didn't think about but the packing mags and healing and all those mechanics that you have to like figure out and learn. Like, you know how long it took me to learn that I could even just bind heals? I didn't know I could do that for the longest time.
Yeah.
So I sat there for so long, just, you know, tabbing the menu open, dragging the heal over. I actually just learned not too long ago from the player that my friend who just started playing this game. He's brand new. I just learned from him that when you need hydration and food, you can drag the stuff to your head and use it. don't have to right click and click use. You can drag it to your head, and you automatically
Really?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Oh, we didn't know that.
What?
Mhm.
Mad. I
Yeah,
had no
see?
idea you could do that either.
See, there you go. Yeah, you can just
That's
drag
the
it to you
thing
and
people with
use it.
alpha, people with the base edition do.
Yep.
Yeah, because we never need to do that.
I didn't know.
Dude, that's you learn something new, don't you? Every day,
Mhm.
apparently. with
I literally,
Dark Elf.
like, I was having him stream on Discord so I could see something, and then he did that. And I was like, "The heck
Like,
did you just
what?
do?" He's like, "What do you
I
mean?
learned
That's how I eat and
something-
drink." I was like,
Uh,
"No, it's not."
That's that. I learned something new the other day, actually. And I did. I'm. It's probably just me being like ignorant. You know, like if you pick up any like task items and stuff like that, like
Mhm.
for example, delivery from the past. Now you think usually you have to go straight to factory to do that, don't you? Because you got the item on. you.
Yeah.
There's
I
actually
think
a
I'm gonna
different
say.
You can move
task
it.
slash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No idea that was a thing.
Really?
Absolutely no idea. When I learned that, my you know, like,
So fun.
Yeah. I didn't know that for a while. There was. Oh, there's a lot of stuff. It really becomes like understanding packing mags and like just everything. I mean, you got a lot to learn, and you're gonna die a lot. I say a thing I would suggest players never do, especially new players. I say no player should ever do it because I hate them, but I don't run lasers. I am
Mm,
not a
yeah.
fan of lasers.
Me
The amount of
neither.
times I'm just walking and a
Flashlights.
laser hits my eye and I like start sprinting away, I'm like, oh, someone was watching me. Like I'm literally about to loot something and the laser hits the ground in front of me. I'm like, oh, guess
Yep,
it ain't safe.
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
agree. Absolutely agree. The flashlights have been my best friend for a long time now. Because I usually play aggressive anyways. I usually I've rationalized it this way. If they can hear me, they're probably gonna like see my flashlight anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you
See,
know.
flashlights,
and you
are,
know.
bro, they're powerful, man. You should use
They
them.
are, yeah.
I hate to
I
say
mean,
it, but
you know, like I mean, they can be a bit weird and inconsistent sometimes
Oh,
when
yeah.
they either flash you or partially flash. I think it's depending on if they're wearing any sunglasses or not. I'm not too sure, but the flashlights for me personally, especially help with the darker maps.
yeah,
Because,
like interchange.
yeah,
My hero
exactly
there.
right. Yeah, absolutely right. It's flashlight vector gamers. Yeah, I've run into a few of those too.
Yes.
But yeah, I never run lasers. I know a lot of people run the IR laser better.
Which that one's
like the-
okay. Yeah, so that
yeah,
one.
yeah. It's because I mean, at the end of the day, they're not going to see it. And you get the point fire stability you'd get from it. But
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
I am reflecting on what you said about streamers and like who people watch when they start is super important because I think that a lot of top tier streamers they're playing a different game almost than the new players are playing. Like you're gonna watch Landmark and you're gonna see him destroy squads, and like Landmark is great, but like he has a lot of time in the game, so he can take his time as a solo and kill. Like he can kill. Like he's an above average player. You're new to the
Mm.
game. Like if Landmark hears a sound, he's like, this guy's in this building over here in this room, I'm pretty sure. If you hear a sound, you're like, what?
What is that? Where? Help me.
Is that left or
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, up, down, left, right. Is that
What I-
reserve?
what-
Shoreline? Where are we?
When I first started watching Tarkov, I watched this really small streamer who like played only reserve and he was really slow in his playstyle. And that like super like it really helped me to understand like the slow side of the game. And then I would switch up and watch Pestily and then watch Landmark. And be like, oh my god, people actually play this game aggressive?
Mhm.
Like, we have 24/7 labs players who like only shift W. Like being able to like understand both of the spectrums and understand when you're watching those people that you're far away from that, and just like pick up on the little things they do.
That-
If it's a if it's a big streamer, you can actually read your chat, like ask a question. How'd you know he's there? Like,
Yeah.
what made you think he was there? Like, what was that sound?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's different play styles. Everybody plays the game in their own little way. You know, they're inspired with other people, but like I mean, 5 years ago, we'll go 4 years ago. The top streamers in the category were Clean and Smoke.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And Clean, obviously, we all know Clean. He prefers a much more, basically
more playstyle?
a version of Tarkov that Bosch usually use more of this than
Yeah.
the W key. Like
Mhm.
you know, and I talk a lot about Clean's ideas, and I love what he talks about and stuff. But now, what I'm leading says that 4 years ago he was like the go-to guy. Now it's like Pestily, Landmark, like you said, and stuff like that. And these players are incredibly intelligent and incredibly good at the game. But it's just so important to know that you're not going to be getting in and playing like those guys immediately. Those guys have played, and
Years.
they've done 24-hour streams.
48-hour
constantly, they've
streams.
played it-
48
yeah,
hours.
40, yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
like they've done a lot, but they've also done a lot for the community and stuff like that. They put out
Yeah.
guides, they put out they do Q&As and stuff like that, and like what Miss Trash said earlier, going to and visit some other streams and stuff like that, pick up some tips and stuff, and get some input. Yeah. One more thing I'd like to part with though, if you're ruining an SKS, don't bring extra internal mags with you.
Yes,
Hmm.
please.
Yeah, there's a tip
Don't
for
do
you.
it. Don't
Okay,
do it.
more. I saw level 20 with that the other day.
Yep.
A
Yeah.
level 20.
Yeah.
And I was like, he doesn't know.
We can't
Doesn't
reload
know,
it.
dude. I killed a dude who was level 23, I think, the other day, and he was running an M4, and he kind of like he was playing well, but he peeked me, didn't shoot until I killed him, and then I checked his mags, and he had 348 blackout.
Oh
Sorry,
my.
blackout basically in his mags, and I just
Yep.
thought,
Jeez.
So for those
Just wanted to-
watching, just so you
"I
guys
dropped the
know,
M4 for you, bud." There you go.
can't reload the SKS in raid. So
No.
you gotta feed it the bullets in. So if you bring extra mags, your guy can't pull the mags out. So
There's a
Just
couple people in chat that I'm also agreeing with, which is Waka Flocka Flame over here about new players should focus on one map and learn it. I stuck to
That's tough.
customs for like the first like 3 weeks of Wipe before I even like did my tasks on customs, but then just tried to only learn customs like just so I had at least a map that was like my go-to. Like I think having a go-to map for even just scav running and just learning. Even learning spawns before learning extracts is so important because
Yeah.
there's a
Mm.
99% chance you're not even going to make it to extract, but you need to know where the people are going to be showing up around you and stuff like that. So
I said that's honestly exactly what I did too when I started playing. Like I picked reserve, and that was the map I pretty much only played reserve. I play with my friends when they were on, I just stuck to my scav and I just kept scabbing reserve. And I was like,
yeah.
all right, what's this area? And I go to like a lot of areas a lot and just keep dying. And I'm like, okay, I died here, but what happened when I died? Like, oh, okay, so right before I died, I heard these noises, and then after I heard these noises, he come from this area. So like I thought about that in my brain. So like next time I go in there, and like I be in that building, I hear metal step, and then like my gun's up, and I shoot the guy as soon as he comes around the corner. I'm like, because I can hear those, like I can react to those noises. 'Cause I just so trained now to what they are and where they are.
I feel like reserve is one of the more intimidating maps because of how much is going on the map. But I remember also being absolutely terrified of shoreline, and it was just because of how much space there is. Like
Yeah.
I literally don't know where I'm going to get shot from because I'm in an open field.
Yep, all the
But
time.
yeah, all the time. Just all you were literally like you're just gonna like shoot me everywhere you go. Reserve, there's so much going on that it's very intimidating. So it really like learning a map like almost like that too. Like I know a lot of reserve like people who started off on reserve that I feel like are some also the better players that I know in the game because mastering a map like that right off the bat is
For sure.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still don't know reserve, so because it scared me so much when I was a new player, and it's just I don't know.
So
It's interesting because any map you're comfortable with and you learn suddenly feels like a bit small, but reserve for me has always stayed like this huge map, So I agree with that. Yeah.
and they added the underground bunker. Imagine being a new player. One day you load in, it's not there. Like, oh, it's a dead end. You load in the next day, whole other bunker they didn't talk about. He's like, what?
Just had to
This is a
open the
bit-
door, dude. That's all you have to do. Open the
Yeah, I was
door.
like, yeah, dude. You didn't open that door when you were down there last time.
Yeah.
Oh
man.
So with that being said, we'll go to the next question about maps and difficulties of each map. So basically, it's starting to like your guys' personal opinions. What if somebody were to pick one map? What do you think they should be the map and why?
Are we talking about like post wipe or like just like for now, for example, right now?
Well, we can do post. We can do like a post wipe and like mid. Let's do both. That way,
Okay.
so wherever you're jumping in, you can kind of have an idea.
Yeah. Okay. Post wipe, I'd say the most difficult map is probably I'd say reserve because everybody's running to the same places and you're dealing with Blue Car who like the ammo he has, T45M and 5.6A1, it doesn't seem as scary now we're losing like all this great armor. But that kind of stuff will like 1 to 2 tap your chest like very early if you don't have anything like that above level 4, for example. And I guess the easier map, I'd say it's factory, but like you get a lot of
Yeah.
people running factory, nothing but it, So
True.
it's a bit of a weird one. I'd say personally, for me, one of the easier maps I'd say would be Shoreline, because
Really?
you're not running Shoreline that much at the beginning of the wipe because you don't have many keys.
True.
And Senators, he can be weird sometimes. He can be a bit of a Papega sometimes. Whereas, like, for example, Rashala and his boys, BT rounds going to shred you.
Yeah.
You know, and Factory, I feel like Factory's like training wheels map for any new player in it. Like, so.
And that's
well,
post
that doesn't-
12.11. After
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Or
no,
pre,
yeah,
sorry, pre
indeed,
12.11.
Factory becomes the new labs.
Yeah, Factory might be. Who knows what that's going to be
Yeah.
in a few months.
And I guess like mid wipe, I'd say the easiest map would probably be customs for me, and the harder map would be interchange, because it reaches a point where people are starting to do like all the killer farming and stuff like that, and they're running AP rounds, and sometimes they're bringing good kits, sometimes they're bringing budget kits like that bloody tan armored rig that I see everywhere now.
Mhm. That's
Um,
everybody wears a killer farmer.
Everybody,
The
is
killer
using
farming
that, yeah.
package.
Yeah.
M61, that tan rig,
Yeah, exactly right,
GZSHs.
Yeah. So I'd say
I-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I agree with the factory thing at least too, because I mean, factory, I would say it's the easiest map, depending on who's in your lobby. But that's how I
Mm.
would
Say
say
any
about
map,
any
yeah.
map.
Yeah.
Yeah, like labs, I'd say is probably the hardest map for me. But like that's also because just hackers,
Yeah,
love
don't
that
help.
map. Yeah, and then like the raiders are just like they come around corners and stuff like that. But that's why like I think raiders on labs are a lot harder than like raiders on like customs or something like that.
Yeah.
But I would say that I think customs and interchange are actually a lot easier maps, but it's also because I made those maps. So like I think Shoreline's a lot harder, but it's just because of how messy resort gets. Like you have like ultimate Chads rushing resort. So it depends on what part of the maps you're on too. For sure. Like Shoreline Resort, I think is way harder than the rest of Shoreline.
Which is fair,
Mm.
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
But also at the same time, the rest of Shoreline, you have to deal with people that once they start hitting Shooterborn, they don't leave bushes
Yeah.
ever.
Or
That's why I
exfil.
don't like the rest of Shoreline.
Yeah. The amount of people. Oh, it's a different day.
I think there's a lot of times that like we play resort and we don't see a single player, but then we get outside and every stash is hit. So I think there's probably a huge amount of the player base that focuses on the outside to like I've stopped by people's streams that I've killed before and just like watch them, and they play Shoreline, play around the town, go swamp, and just sort of hang around those areas of the map, and they don't go to his resort. I think interchange is probably like kind of newbie friendly because the extracts are straightforward.
Yeah.
And I think it can be a lot with the killer farmers, but the killer farmers usually and the new players I don't think would gravitate to where Killa is at. Like they're either playing slow, getting their way into the building and like starting from idea and ollie and stuff. They're rarely ever making it. Like I rarely kill new players in the centers. Like I'm either kill them ratting somewhere like top floor or an idea, like places I usually wouldn't find. The typical Chad.
Yeah. I say new players, I feel like, I mean, I can't even keep up with killer farmers. And I shift W in the map with an SJ6, max strength, max endurance. And I get in there from the closest spawn, somehow Killa's in front of me dead and no one to be certain. I'm just like, how? Where'd you go?
It's interesting on Exchange now because like the game meta's almost completely turned itself up. Do you know how remember like for the first month or so of the patch, you'd usually 9 times out of 10 you see stash runners,
Yeah.
and then you'd barely see many people indoors because no one had keys, no one had
Yeah.
any of that. Nobody was on the killer tasks. Now I've been playing Exchange a lot because I've been loving this. Everybody is hard sending it to where killer is, not just because of killer, but because of the tech stores, because the GPU is now 1.5 mil. Techlight, Raz, etc., and Kiba. People are rushing to these places immediately, and it's like everybody is moving to the same spots, and they're aware other people are moving to the same spots, and it's just chaos now. It's really, really fun if you enjoy those fights that really kind of stress you up to the absolute
Oh,
brim.
yeah. Because they keep. Good, sorry.
I've just about to say, it's just interesting to see how the way to play maps has throughout a patch progression completely flips upside down. Like Woods now, with the expansion, it's hard to run into players now because you have so much choice where to go. It's not just like a half a donut, It's more like a triangle almost in terms of in map station now, and then same with customs. You know, that used to be like a really slim rectangle in terms of map shapes. Now it's more like a thick oval. You know, like it's interesting to see how the playing the maps like changes up the more patch progresses.
I used to be like so anti customs, and then it just when they added that, just the construction edition has like made the map feel so much better to me, because it just like that was my thing. Like customs was new players getting bullied by players running to dorms, and that's all it was. You know, you run the dorms, the new players get bullied at dorms, and then the geared players just walk out, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But now I feel like there's a lot more spots to go with the construction.
Especially with like like you were saying with the new area stronghold and I don't know what you guys call them. I
Stronghold,
call it, like
yeah.
stronghold
I
fortress,
call it fortress. Yeah.
or we call it med or crack house.
Yep.
I called it Intel
Depending.
building. I was like, crack house is actually good. I'll start using that instead.
Cracks me up, but like those have like quality loot that if like you want to go in, grab intel, and then head out, you know, like you can still make a profit on customs without necessarily having to farm players. Whereas like late customs, I feel like a lot of the money that you're going to make on customs is just from PvP. Like
that's
just
how I
in
always felt in the
general.
beginning. Like yeah, before they added that, and I was just like I always tell players like if you're a new player, like customs is always where I'd recommend going. Just because every time my general experience when I go to customs is I just run into a bunch of people with level 1, 2, 3 with their base M4s, and I'm like yeah, like so if you want to be people who are as experienced as you are, this is the best place for you to be. Like
Sure.
you're obviously never safe anywhere. Like anything, any moment, anything can happen. It's the great thing about Tarkov. I said somebody custom was just 11 guys, slick Olins. I'm like, my bad.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I think
customs-
Woods with the update as well. Sorry.
Oh no,
I thought Woods with the update, like apart from the minefields, the new players, like you hear them every every single time you spawn there. But I think that Woods with the update actually is probably more friendly to new players.
Yeah.
Because there's like it's not everyone being focused in the center anymore, but people can actually spread out and find loot in other areas. And there's a lot more stashes in the woods as well. Like I haven't actually done a wood stash one. I'm curious like how many stashes are in woods now, and like if they're like what like a stash route could be like going across the map. But like woods might be really good right now.
it's definitely less funneled.
The loot spots you can get from it now are insane. I don't remember. It's basically it's like the little cluster of houses, like a little street or like a road.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
it's like copy pasted from Shoreline
We
almost.
call it the
Yeah.
village.
Yeah. Those houses have so much like loose tech loot, like sugar,
Sugars.
milk,
Yeah.
you
good
know,
stuff.
Yonka, stuff like that. you know.
Corridors.
Yep.
Yeah, the relief camp on the other side of which now takes up the death field.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, like there's a Ledex spawn there.
Is
which
there?
I didn't. Yeah. So you know the open container with all the bodies in it. and
Okay.
Like a table at the
Yes.
very back. Ledex spawn right at the back there.
Okay. See,
only found
I
that out recently.
always wondered if I was like I haven't caught wind of it yet, but I was like
Yeah, I
I've seen
figured they would.
ophthalmoscopes, so I was like, I mean, it's set up to be like it looks like it should be.
Yeah. So you can get that. You can get tech, meds, snackies. You can get all kinds of really cool stuff from the relief camp. And then like Arcane said, all the stashes. You know, you can always get good stuff from stashes. Two
Yep.
new marked circles, and I find that the marked like little tunnel up on the sniper rock
Oh yeah.
tends to have better loot for the marked loot table. Like with Woods now, I'm really liking what they did with Woods and Customs. It's not
Same.
just like one spot of loot now and then if your map. There's more choice, which I think is really important on any map. Is just the choice of where to go, rather
Yeah.
than feel like you have to funnel into this direction.
Which is like always the big gripe I've had with Shoreline is I always felt like I'm not saying I'm wrong. I am wrong because there are lots of stuff you can do on the outside of the map. But I always feel like when you go to Shoreline, it's really just the resort if you really want to get the good stuff. Like that's where you're gonna get your
Yeah.
Lennoxes, your Tetris,
Oh, no,
graphics cards,
absolutely.
and that's one
Yeah, yeah.
building.
Yeah, no,
That's it.
I used to main Shoreline heavily. I've swapped over to Exchange for the now, but
I'm trying to swap
you know,
change.
yeah, it's a weird adjustment, but you trust me, man, you'll love it to change soon. As long if you have to embrace the Shift W when you.
Oh, I've become a rat.
I mean, hey man, listen, just watch Killer's Body, easy pixels. there you go.
There's this one spot like in the rafters. I find I can just sit up in the rafters, and I just have so many cliff now. People just walking right under me. I'm just staring at them.
yeah.
It's like they really not see me up here.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't-
but yeah, like I mean, there are places you can go outside, but like it's I think this is why Reserve is probably my favorite map for map design because there's no empty spots. There's always
Mhm.
something somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas Shoreline, you have the Shoreline, You have all the buildings and stuff like that in the resort. You have weather station, which is okay. You still get like a maybe like if you're lucky a Tetris or something from there. You have the villas and the village next to each other, which I think are underrated for sure. Like there needs to be more stuff put in there. And the HEP station, because they not too long ago with Jaeger, they introduced the top room that you can unlock.
Yeah.
You can get Intel, GPMVGs, and suppressors from that room. It's great.
Hmm.
But
Did not know that.
Either.
yeah, no, you can get Intel spawns in
I
there.
literally never
and-
gone
No
there.
wonder we kill people on the stairs all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's worth going to HEP every time I'm passing it. For example, if I get the blue fence spawn, which is like the furthest spawn from resort, I know I'm not going to get to resort in time, so I just take a mosey on down to the HEP station, kill scouts and any players there, hit HEP, and usually you get something really nice from it. But like Miss Trash said, there's fields everywhere. Like it's just there's nothing to fill it up.
There's so much empty.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing where I don't get either is the fact that they nerf the resort loot.
Yep.
Now, I don't mind it if they do that, if like the open loot, the unlocked
Yeah.
room loot was good. But I mean, a lot of the keys, if they really want to nerf the loot, I'd say put a duration on the keys because the keys are dirt cheap right now. You can pick
Yeah.
up,
All of 'em, much.
so many good keys for like barely 100k each.
Sanitar's
and,
110 key can spawn 3 Lennoxes. It's 60k.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly right, mate.
Blue
If they
key
wanna do
card.
that-
If
want
they
it
don't want to
be
do
they
that,
need to do that, yeah.
I was gonna say if they don't want to do just like duration on keys, just give keys a warn mechanic maybe. So
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't just feel like everything's in our thick case and that's it, and then we never need to I never need to switch my thick case to the rest of the right because all my shoreline keys are in it.
No, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I mean, especially because on TechLight, the some of the best loot is locked behind like Kiba, UMS, MES if you think that's good.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But it's very rare to see people running those rooms first because of all the stuff they can get immediately, quickly from any of these open locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because at some point we're supposed to be getting the mushroom farming system where areas of loot on a map will deplete, and then areas of like for example, let's say people spam loot the shore like the resort. They wanted to implement a system where the loot in resort will diminish, as in like it will be harder and harder to find things there. But let's say the loot over in the village will get better as that area diminishes. They want
Gotcha.
to implement the system where it kind of like, but it encourages people to not go for the same spot over and over again.
Yeah.
But that kind of defeats the point of the locked rooms. People unlock a room because they at least expect something to be good in there because they spent either a lot of money or they got lucky finding the key.
hmm
So I'm not too sure what they're planning there.
All right. So, as a new player coming into Tarkov, and say you're coming as your first wipe, what would you guys recommend the new players spend learning in the beginning of the first wipe? Like, what is the most important thing you think a player can understand or learn?
The maps easily, no questions asked.
Well, like how I was saying, like starting off with one map too, especially. I started with customs because a lot of your early tasks are all on customs. Like the scav kills that we get.
Yeah.
The scav kills and like just like going and getting like the bronze pocket watch and all that stuff. Like all of the really early tasks are all customs, and so that's one of the reasons why I started there. So if you're going to do I think finding your map and then maybe like finding early tasks associated with that map is a good idea, but your main focus right off the bat should just be map knowledge. I mean, I'm coming from Siege, and Siege alone is already a map knowledge game.
Yeah.
Because you need to know where to peek.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And map knowledge in this game is way more than just knowing peaks and stuff. I mean, I watch streamers still. I mean, I still learn obviously from other people on stream constantly, how the best way to rotate on someone in dorms. I just recently watched someone hop off the balcony onto the fence line and then run back up the stairs, and I went, I didn't even realize that wouldn't completely break my legs. That's just watching other people do these things is so important. But you're not going to know any of these tiny tricks by just sprinting in and going, oh, dead, oh,
Yeah.
dead, every 2 seconds. You have to, if you die, it needs to be productive, I guess.
Yeah.
is the
So
best way
learn
I can say
something.
it.
Use your deaths to actually move forward with it. Learn stuff from your deaths.
Yeah.
It should always be I died to BS. Obviously, everyone dies to desync or something like that at some point in their
Yeah.
life. It happens. But like every death should be a reminder or a lesson.
Hmm.
Like for example, did I check that corner? Did I forget to check my fire mode earlier? Like any veteran player still makes mistakes from time to
Mhm.
time.
Oh yeah.
And like unless like you genuinely like, there's nothing you could do if you did die because of something technical, for example. There's nothing you can do about that anyways. But um, yeah, every death should be a lesson or a reminder for the older players. Whether or not they forgot something in their rotations, for example.
Yeah. That's like a key thing too. Like, I know even myself, I spent like a lot of common phrases when people die in any video game is you hear why is he there, and you need to start
Yeah,
asking yourself less of why is he there and more of how can I prevent him from killing me from being there. Like, and it
Yeah.
comes down to checking your corners, things like that. Like, it's the concept of like people will get upset about people ratting, but the reality of ratting is they should die if you are checking your T's and dotting your I's,
Yeah.
crossing your T's, dotting your I's. If you're playing it,
Nice.
yeah,
Thanks.
I agree completely though. Like I mean, like this linking back to people kind of the accusation culture in that right now in Tarkov.
Yeah.
It's just like I mean, it's like the whole extra camping thing that I talked about a while ago. We can all agree extra camping is
Yeah.
it's not great. No
No.
one should ever do it.
Yeah.
We can all agree in that. People can call it a play style. You're wrong, but like
You're wrong.
Straight up.
but like I mean, if someone is like, if you turn a corner and someone's crouched and holding an angle and you die to that person, it's like it's not it shouldn't be a question of why are they there, were they just waiting there for me? It should be a question of, okay, I just got really lucky with someone hearing me coming up, and I should probably be more careful in the future.
Mhm.
Or if I suspect someone's there again, throw a nade if you have one, or maybe kind of like half peek the corner to
Yep.
get a shot out.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's you run into there are maps where you would like least expect to run into someone. Like it could be like if you're running for a shoreline, for example, what Mishra said earlier, someone might be sitting in a bush. They could have just come up from the village, for example,
Mhm.
and they heard you coming up and they sat in a bush and waited for you to come by. Like it's so important to kind of like keep an open mind with that kind of stuff, because having that closed mind where it's just like, okay, this person sucks, time to go again.
Yeah.
You completely almost block off like your way to improve the game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
like
for
for example, like people camping West 301, like behind closed doors or whatever,
Mhm.
or if they're sitting in one of the planters, which I
Yeah.
think is really funny.
Ah.
Like one time I've died from each one. I died to someone sitting in the planter, and I died to someone who was in
In
the
the
outside
room?
rooms.
Yep, I
And
was
now
that room
every
got
si-
me.
and now
I open that room
every
every time.
every single time now from that point on, I open those rooms and I check the planters and I make sure I'm not about to get run upon.
Mhm.
And that should be what it's like, though. You should be doing that. But
Mhm.
people like to say, "Well, this person sucks. I don't have to do this."
Yeah, exactly.
It's just because they're bad at the game.
Yeah.
It's not good, man. You got to keep learning.
Yep. I agree. And so another thing I like I said, I personally recommend to people is it's very confusing, but learning their hideouts and what they can do. Like as a new player, it's really confusing to go into a raid and like you spawn in and you have a billion items you see that are all unidentified. And you're like, is this worth it? Is this worth it? Should I grab this? Do I want that? And like you have no direction. So
Yeah.
as a new player, if you load in and you check out your hideout at the bare minimum, you see what you like. It'll tell you. That's the only thing this game tells you is what you need to upgrade your hideouts, and it will tell you in there like you need these items. So at least you can have a purpose when you're going into raids now. And if you see a light bulb, that has value to you. It may not be like valuable on the market, but it will help you progress somehow, some way.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Purpose is huge. Like one main thing I learned when I was new when watching Pesley's videos is don't hop into a raid if you don't have a plan. If either you're going to PvP and learn like from dying, or you're going to get a task done, or you're going to learn the map. Hey, I haven't been to this part of the map, or I've been to the first dorm. I haven't been to the second one. Let me go check it out. And that way you actually get to like not just hop in and just just be sort of wandering aimless, and then you get killed by someone from a spawn you're not familiar with. Being able to have a plan kind of helps with your pathing across the map, because you can be like, all right, I want to get some PvP and I might go fight at dorms or see if I can get any fight in, and then on my way out, I'll hit this quest on the way out. Sort of helps you be effective on the way, because you're right, there's so many items in the game. Like, how many new players text and say, hey, is this worth? Do I sell this? Do I sell this motor?
Yeah.
Or like stuff like
Mhm.
that. So
That's
I think it's
the
yeah.
number one thing at all time. People like Like I said, I play with a lot of new players. It's like the kind of thing I do. I try to help out people as much as I can. I'll get them in raids as much as I can. And I just so many times I just repeat the same questions. All right, every step they take. Hey, I found this new item. Is it good? No. No, that step. Is this good? Nope. Odds are 95% of the things you find aren't going to be worth it. However,
Do I sell this red key card defense?
yeah, actually, you don't want that. That's trash. Go ahead. Let me know before you do it, though. Real quick. Hold on.
If you find it, drop it in a toilet, but then let me scav him real quick. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
sell
Let me
that.
know the server code, though.
Yeah.
It's
I
actually
think a scab is also like a free life as well. Like you need to spam that.
Yeah.
If you want to learn a new map, at least I think that's the easiest way to learn new maps sometimes is just spam the scabs into those maps. Like the spawns are going to be different from PMC, but you're going to understand like certain landmarks and just be able to learn the maps at no cost. Like you don't have to spend your PMC or hatchet run. I think that's super important.
Yeah, say as much as I also don't enjoy hatchet runners, but they are very important to learning the game. It gives you a no cost.
It's all about intention though, that though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about intention. Like if you're sitting on like 40 million rubles and you're hatchet running,
I'm just like, why?
like you know what I mean? Like if you're sitting on like a stash that would make even Pestily cry because it's that juicy, and you're opting in for running KS23s and you're completely naked, I'm just like,
Yeah.
there's a whole other game out there, man. You're sitting on a whole other game. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about the intention. We
Mhm.
all hatchet run at some point when we started playing. Like, when we get to a certain point, the following wipes and stuff like that, we're not doing that nearly as much. But
Yeah.
even then, it's just like it's all about the intention, really. When I see someone like sub level 30, I don't really think much about it. If I see someone sub level 40 to 30, I'm like, okay, well, let them off. If I see someone level 55 and they're running a pistol, I just the amount of time they've spent getting to that level,
Just to run a
surely
pistol.
at one point, but even then, it's like it's a knowledge thing, isn't it? It's a knowledge thing.
Yeah.
Like they clearly got the knowledge to do what they're doing right now because they're doing it. They know that a pistol run is efficient to get money, but then you see it so much in maps like Reserve and Interchange and stuff like that that you can't just help but think not all these people can be broke. There's no way. It's like it's statistically impossible for you can go broke at any level. That's fine, but if you are level 55 and you don't know what you're doing in terms of like loot running and stuff like that, I'm wow. I mean, tell me what you're doing because I want to play the game you're playing. Like
There's 2 Tarkovs out there. Got a whole new
yeah,
world to
dude,
explore.
man. Escape from Tarkov and escape from friggin' Techlight, apparently.
Yeah. That is, I mean, that one honestly is. I remember one where I SJ6 shift W'd in, and in the first 35 seconds, I had literally, I think I killed 7 players. I killed 1 juice guy, he had a pistol. The rest were all hatchet runners.
Yeah.
I was like, well, and there goes my raid. Like, I guess outside I
Pretty
go
much,
again.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's all about the intention at the end of the day, and if you see like someone sub level 30, you can let them off.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like I
But
said,
like the rocky territory for me is like 40 plus. Now, like I said, you could go broke at any level. You can literally have such a bad time on Tarkov with bad luck. Everybody has them, these
Or
bad luck streaks.
you could even have a like I said, I think I have like 150, and that's, if I did 10 bad T7 raids, I'd be broke.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could go
if I
broke.
decided to run Reap-IRs every single raid, I'd probably half my money if I had a bad day.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
at the end of the day, you can go broke at any level, but it's like we link back to map knowledge. Like
Mhm.
at that level, you should have a pretty in-depth knowledge of any map you're running, and you clearly know what you're doing on Interchange because you're pistol running, and you're going straight to the places where there just happen to be the best loot out there.
That's so
and,
convenient. It's like, I didn't know
yeah,
this was here. I
it's
swear, guys.
it's just I just stumbled in, man. Yeah, just
I was actually
I
looking
just-
for
I
a
just-
quest item, but I guess I'll take it.
I just toggled my auto run key, just looked away to get a drink, and then I came back. Oh, it's a GPU in my pocket. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be a bug. I'll report it. Don't worry.
You report it, yeah.
All right. So, next question will be, so where you are, I don't know what I wrote there. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Anyways, basically, if you were a new player yourselves and you could go back in time and give yourself any kind of advice going into Tarkov for the first time today, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself?
Don't run into barbed wire when you have a blacked out head.
I did that
Some.
this way. Fun fact. So sad. I was just walking. I'm like, oh, I'm good. Don't worry, we'll leave. I'm happy. My head's blacked. It's fine. I'll be okay. I touched it. I'm just like, I'm dead.
The first time I learned this was the harshest way to ever learn this. I remember when I accidentally loaded into a customs nighttime raid, and I was terrified. I just happened to walk down this past this bush, which has like the single monocle night vision back then was like the
Mhm.
best night vision because it was the only one.
Yeah.
So it's so expensive. So I killed a guy who did that when I was really hurt. I managed to heal up, but my head was black. So I had this like Gen 4 HMK, this Killer M4, this S-Lock mount with the night vision, and I was so scared because of it was nighttime, and I didn't even know how to use the night vision because I was that new to the game. But I was just hugging the wall like all the way all the way towards the checkpoint,
Okay.
and there's a part of the wall where the barbed wire on top kind of falls down a little bit,
Yep.
and I gave myself a haircut with that. And it was over.
That's what happened to me. I was by the car extract, right when you're going from behind Dorns past the car towards the RUAF side where the boat is. There's a little part that dips down there, and I fought a bunch of people, had all their gear. I think I had a couple slick and all ones on me, and I was like, this is the beginning of this wipe too, and I was like, all right, I want to get out. Like, I need this loot. Like, it's, and I'm just walking along the edge, like. My friend's like, I hear something. They're like, oh, so I like turned to look as I'm walking, and my head touched the bar, and I just go over, and I was like, oh my god.
I was like, you dead?
He's like, oh,
Tell me
free
over.
loot. He's like, yeah, right there.
If it was something I was actually going to tell myself if I just started Tarkov now, it would be don't. I'd say it'd be find a buddy sooner to play with. Because this person, even if he's like playing a few weeks ahead of you, he knows stuff that you don't. You know, he knows where one locked room might be. You might be on a task where he knows where it is. You know, and you don't know the wiki's a thing yet, for example. So I'd say finding a buddy to learn the game with. You know, like we talked about. There's a lot of is that you and you on wood, you on metal. There's a lot of that, but there's you know, like it's important to kind of like lean on someone a little bit.
Yeah.
It just not just it just makes the experience a little bit easier, but it also, you know, some of my best memories of this game are when I'm learning the game with a buddy. You know, like you know, I think I stumbled across one of my oldest friends doing it now to this day. You know? Like, you know, I think Tarkov's not just about, you know, getting to level 40 and feeling good about yourself. It's about, you know, the bond of the brotherhood, you know,
Yeah.
or sisterhood, you know, like along the way. And you know, like I think that's important too. You know, you get to suffer with each other, and through that you become yeah, good people, good friends.
They say misery loves company too. So
There you go.
somebody else right there dying next to you, head eyes, buckshot scav, and you're both trying to figure out what happened. Feels a little better to know it wasn't just you.
Yo, dude, can you drop my PP?
Yeah, can you get that?
PP?
Dude, it's like the best gun in the game. I remember.
Had a sight in it, dude.
Yeah, I remember I had this really whack AK one time, and I got this thing, and I was like, this has to be the best gun. Like, this thing looks sick. Like, it cannot get better than this. And I probably had like T ammo in it. I remember like running up to a juice guy. I was like, this guy's so fried. And I just shot him in the back a bunch. And then he just turns around, looks at me, and just taps me in the head. And I was like, huh, well, that's neat.
Thanks for the massage. Now
Yeah.
let me back to the lobby. Oh man, it's just it's awesome finding your first modded rifle as a new PMC though. Whether you got a nade, you got a lucky kill, lucky headshot, whatever. Like looting your first juicer for the first time. I remember my first dude, and like the emotions that the cycles you go through. First, it's like you're hyperventilating because you just killed someone really good. Then you see what you have, and you're starting to panic, and then you start getting too distracted because it's all good stuff. And then you start getting shot by a scav, and you start freaking out, and then you start running away, and then you run into another player who was there the entire time. It's like it is a roller coaster of emotions when you killed your first kid player. It really is.
It's a lot of stress too. Like, you're just like, I have to live. I can't die here.
They have to get out with this.
Speaking of hyperventilating, I put something in for chat. But yeah, finding your first piece of good loot and hyperventilating.
Shut up.
But
Yeah, I think one thing I would tell myself as someone who's like new is you don't have that gear in raid till you're out of the raid. So like just to calm down. Like I'm so desensitized. Not in the clip some posted, but I'm so desensitized from usual stuff. If I kill I don't care if I've killed the 5 men and they're all slick ultims. Like till I leave the raid, I'm not excited. I'm just like, yeah, cool. They have slick ultims. Oh, I got headshot by Scav. Cool. All right, cool. Next raid.
It's reached the point. I reaches the point where it's like it's not stuff you need. It's just stuff that's convenient. You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't
Yeah.
have to spend $500,000 on a slick.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to mod up an M4 now. Like,
Yep.
but like, you know, you're not. I mean, that's the thing. Like, and this is what I think where people go a lot wrong. It's the fact that it doesn't matter how many players you've killed. It doesn't matter if you have 5 GPUs up your ass. It doesn't matter what you have. You are not safe until that time when the interaction hits 0. It doesn't matter how invincible you're feeling. You know, you have to get out the raid before you really celebrate. You know, and I think that's when you do extract. It's like that's the best thing for me now. You know, killing a squad is fine and all, but if I kill a squad and I die, if I kill a squad and I extract, I'm just like, you know, I'm back in my chair. I'm reveling in it. You know, like yeah.
Say it's.
And for our
That's
surprise guest.
Yep. So what? You're good. She can join the he can join the discussion.
Sit on my PC.
It's warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else to add?
Yeah, I'm
Something
solid.
My cat completely made me lose it too. Oh no.
All right, so
Oh, wait, I do remember it. No,
Okay.
the definitely with the extract thing where you're not safe till that hit 0. I've been in extract with literally 1 second left and gotten head tapped. Like
Mhm.
that is definite facts. That's
Yeah.
something I think everybody needs to fully understand. And like watching people get loot and then die with it on them, and watch like having that be like the deciding factor of them getting off that day. Like I'm just now to the point where I rage a lot less than I used to, you know, and like that's the biggest thing, you know, like
Sure.
where you have one bad raid and it ruins it, you're off for the night. Like you need to keep playing. You
Yeah,
can't let
I agree.
You can't let stuff like that like stop you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's if you die because you know either it was a GG fight, you know, if you made a mistake, you know, it's frustrating for sure, but you know, it's not enough to really warrant
Yeah.
the rage that usually follows
yeah.
with a lot of players, a lot of
Mhm.
streamers.
Yep.
You know, like I mean, for example, for me personally, if I die, and this happened to me today, unfortunately, if I die over and over again to stuff that is genuinely out of my control, like server-side related issues, bugs, you know, like half complete finished features in the game, you know, like if these things like get me killed over and over and over again, then yeah, I'd say maybe take a bit of a break, play a different game, because obviously it's not a good day to play that game, right? But like what Miss Trash said, like people, you know, die with a GPU on them, and then that's it, they're done, trash game.
Yeah.
You know, I
Mhm.
got killed by a camper or a cheater. You know, like
Mhm.
it's just, you know, it's not the case, man. Like sometimes it do be like that. It do be like
It do
that.
be like that.
Yeah.
Common motto of this generation. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So the biggest thing I can think of is the like concept of just getting it in your mind. Like you're a new player and you see all these, like you watch Landmark and you watch all these like labs only players and you see their inventories and their stashes and they're just meta HK all the time. They're so juiced. And like you like, I got to be that guy. So the first time you get one, you get all that anxiety. It's like the, you know, classic gear fear anxiety. Like you don't want to lose it because it's the only one you have, and you want to be like these guys you're looking up to. And at the end of the day, what I can tell you is, it'll come back to you. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but it might be next week. One day that
Yep.
HK will come back to you. It's not gone forever. It feels like it's gone forever, but it's really not gone forever. You will see another one another time.
Yeah,
And-
I agree completely. Agree completely.
Like
I think understanding ammo is important is one thing that
yes,
new players never really take into consideration. They don't have their ammo charts out. They are rocking meta HKs with M855. Like
yes,
That
I've seen
is
it happen
also-
too.
it hurts.
It does. I feel bad. And I say,
You know what? It's crazy to me how sometimes as well it's like people swear that 55A1 is better than 995, and just like fundamentally, it's
I'm
so
one of those people.
incorrect. I mean, and that is fair enough because I mean, if you look at the stats, they have
Very
only
close,
slightly,
but
it's very close. But like and I get that running 5/1 in general would be cheaper to run, for example. But like the critical moments where every shot and every stat counts, every point
Yeah.
counts. Like when it boils down to it, the better round's going to win.
yeah, you're right.
You know, I mean, personally for me at least, I take a lot more 5/1 now than I do 9/5. And not to mention too, like I mean, it's like running M62s over M61. You know, like right now it's a no-brainer. 6/1's the way forward. But like with some rounds, like 9/5 and 5/1, the difference is very minor. But like, if we know anything about this game, you know, like it's that, and especially when they've nerfed ammo, it's that those few points can sometimes mean a world of difference. Like
Sure.
6.2 splashes across me now. Like I don't feel it hardly.
Yeah,
You know, like, and you know, M855 actually now is a bit more scarier than before. It actually has a high chance to go for level 3 visors. Like it's these days now, every point matters. And personally for me, I wouldn't mind it if we saw a global nerf in ammo.
I wouldn't
Honestly,
either.
I wouldn't mind it, dude. Because I mean,
I
no, I mean,
personally, or even if
I
like,
think
go sorry.
go for me. Sorry, no, you go.
I was just say, or even like a buff to or a new addition to a tier of armor. Like, I like the idea, even if the armor is like just wild expensive. Like, I like the idea of the possibility of like a Juggernaut system where you can stand in the middle of a hallway and even if it's only gonna stop one bullet ever, like you can take the first shot. Like said, the fact that M61 or an M993 or well, I mean, Pua being at it now, like 99.9% of the time, no matter what you do, you die because there's no armor that can do it. Like without the ricochet proc, you can't live it.
I mean, if they treat mod AP ammo like they treat 338 AP, where you can only ever find it in raid. Like
Mhm.
you find it occasionally in marked rooms, occasionally in ammo spawns and stuff like that.
Yeah,
If they treat more AP rounds like that, I wouldn't mind that.
yeah,
I
either.
really wouldn't mind that. Like I mean, APs now I think peak at like 60k rubles
Mhm.
a round.
It's
And like
yep.
I'd see we'd see similar, maybe not as expensive because it's a one shot round basically, but I'd say we'd see a lot more careful planning and you know not so much like heavy reliance on this AP ammo.
Yep.
You know, if anything, I think we'd see more. You know, we don't see it as much, but mag mixing, you know, that's a big thing right now.
Mhm.
But it would be a lot more meaningful if you kill someone, you see like 10 rounds 995 chambered at the top, you're like, okay, that's going in my asshole immediately.
Yep.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't mind it.
I wouldn't
mind
either
it.
personally. It's because I know they want to slow the game down a little bit, and I think that would help. Like right now, like all I run is a DTMDR, like everybody else with M61s, and nothing matters anymore.
Yep.
Like there's just nothing you might as well come in naked or juiced. You're the same to me at that point with whatever you're wearing.
Mhm. Yep. And I mean, I think that's internal a reason why a lot of people tend to dumb down their gear at higher levels. Is because one of the main arguments I see when people do that is it doesn't matter. I'm going to get one tap either way, even if I run level 6.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, dude. That's
Yeah.
a problem. I get that it's supposed to make the game for fully geared players a lot more intense. The fact that they can still die just like that. I think that's one big thing about the charm attack is that it doesn't matter how geared you are. There's always that chance you're just going to die immediately, and that's good. But there needs to be, I think, a bit more elaboration on the fact that gear does mean something.
Yeah.
And rather than it's only ammo that means something, you know, like
Yeah.
I know we're getting the modular plate system eventually at some point. So I'm hoping that kind of like in turn buff makes ammo more meaningful because the plates themselves tend to absorb more damage rather than the actual combined materials. So we'll see.
Yeah. So, any tips you guys have for any new players about like a quick system to learn ammo, like a quick little like any kind of things you guys use to help you when you were learning ammos, like this is always gonna be better. Example, like Tracer's always bad.
Yeah.
Tracer's not
Pretty
penning.
much.
Now
Anything
from
that's
62.
like hollow point or don't run, don't bother. It's not worth it.
Same with the new player's slugs. Like APs are obviously still hurt, but if you're a new player, I'm expecting you're not gonna hit these 180 flick headshots on every player in your way. So a buckshot's your best friend because you just got to
Yep.
shoot in the vicinity.
Magnum is pretty crazy right now. Sure.
I think checking out the chart as well, just knowing what's like knowing what ammo you have and just where you should shoot, because that's like super important. I remember when we were doing the shotgun quest in customs, and like we're in dorms, and I just see a guy with a slick all. I'm like, I can't kill this guy with AP. Like I literally cannot kill this guy. Like I can't shoot him in the head or in the chest. And like I had to like rethink. Okay, maybe I should start running flechettes, and just so I can spam people's legs with it or something instead of just like trying to like pan tier 5, tier 6 armor. So I think yeah, just understanding what ammo you have with the no food after midnight
Yes.
charts, and there's probably a bunch
Yes.
of videos on YouTube as well that even make it easier to learn, because I found the chart kind of a lot when I first saw it as a new player.
Do you know what's really new player friendly? And it gives you a lot more clear effects on which a lot of the ammo to ammo interactions is a Veritas' Battle Buddy app.
Yes, that's
Um,
also
yeah,
very true too.
I couldn't say think of anything else that gives you the numbers more. But also, if for example, if you wanted to see how like the round you just found in raid does against like a Gen 4, you can do that.
Yeah.
You know, like and I think that Battle Buddy app, you can do it on your phone too. You don't have to like open up a tab on your
Yep.
PC, stuff like that. You can just chill and
Actually-
get your phone out and I do it every time I get one tap by something that I didn't expect to get one tap by to
Pull
a
up the
certain
app.
armor. I pull the app up and I think, oh, okay, well, that guy either got incredibly lucky or the round is stronger than I thought. You know?
I remember hearing I had an exfil on and he shot a shotgun. I could tell it was some kind of pellets, and I remember thinking, no pellet can go through a tier 3 face shield. GG easy. So I wide swing this guy with full confidence, flechette right through, and I was like, there's no way flechette can go through this helmet. That is like that. It had a bug. So like I pulled the Battle Buddy app and look, it's like 100% chance flechette goes right through tier 3. I was like, fun fact. Flechette goes right through that thing.
Yeah.
I was like, did not know that.
But yeah, I'd suggest the No Foods chat. I think Battlestate have an official chat, and I think if you're really looking to, I think for a lot of players, the chat could be just like, "Whoa, what the hell does all this mean?" But the Battle Buddy app, I'd say, go and check it out. Veritas did an absolutely incredible job of it, and he keeps
Yeah.
updating it too.
Yeah, see.
So yeah.
All right, down. We'll do the last question here then. With that being, how any tips and trips, basically for like we talked before, we went over briefly, but like using scavs and how important your scavs are for a new player. What would you get? Like, how would you suggest players use their scavs? Like for me personally, when I started playing the game and I was using my scav learn, I avoided conflict at all turns that I could. I wanted to learn the maps. I wanted to see the areas. I wasn't really worried about improving my PvP at the time. So anytime I heard a shot, I was like, I'm not going that direction anymore. I'm turned around and went back to where I was going.
Your scav player should be used to profit.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be used for anything else. Now, later patches, obviously, we can talk a bit differently about that. But for any new player, that scav player, like you said, mate, if you get shot at, run the other way. If you hear a fight in front of you, run the other way. Because at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, you're going to spawn in with something that you just can't fight efficiently with. It could be a stock AKU, it could be a stockless Vepr, it could be a VPO with no sight, it could be an Obrez. Any of these things could potentially stop you from securing a kill. Now, I know a lot of people say that it's always great one tapping a player as a scav player. And that's cool, obviously, but for a new player, use it to loot.
Yeah.
Leave. It's not worth it. You learn the map a little bit better. You become warmer to your loot routes that you decide to take. And if any conflict does happen, I'd honestly say just disengage. That's the thing. You don't have to fight every fight you get into, no matter what level you are.
Yeah. Some people might disagree with you on that, but
I think if you're broke as well, just like getting your scav and extracting and using your scav loadouts instead of actually spending all the money, like the little money you have as a new player on loadouts, like your scav loadouts, you could just almost regurgitate them and use them on your PMC.
I agree. Yep.
And when you get way better and understand task and actually want to go for, quests like Kappa and stuff, if you're at the squad and you die, I use my scav to just find a flash drive or find those pesky task items that take a while to find, just so I'm actually being optimal with my time. But yeah, but for new players, profit, just guns, and it comes with ammo too. And usually, if it's a shotgun, it's buckshot, it's grizzly slugs. It's things that the ammo you can buy off the trader that you have at the moment. So like you can still be able to get more ammo for that.
Yep, I agree completely. I mean, just the scavs, your scav play in general, can be this almost like experience saver. Like you've had a bad day in your PMC, but you have a great scav run, but only
Mhm.
because all you did was just loot things and leave. Like it's good for morale almost.
Yeah.
To a degree almost. Like
The one
you
raid you
feel
turn
like
around.
exactly, man. You bounce back and then you're back on top, and then you find something super valuable that can keep you going in your PMC for a little bit longer. Like yeah, no, I agree with that.
All right. Anything else to add, guys? That's
Top of my head, that's oh yeah. Don't take your scavs to extracts and sit there. Don't
yeah.
do that.
Don't extract cam as a new player.
Listen. Just because you don't have your PMC name up on your screen doesn't mean we don't. It's don't do it.
We know.
Yeah, we know who you are.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're watching. All right. So I want to say thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate you guys, sitting down and having this talk with us.
Thanks for stopping by, guys.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, it's been a good
Anytime.
time.
I'm glad.
Invitation for sure.
Yep, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, yeah. So that'll be all. All right, guys.
All right. Good night, guys.
Yep.
Peace.
Everybody have a good night.
Good night.